So, the multiverse is a very complicated and confusing subject. This is because this concept is completely theoretical. Most of the time, a multiverse is the name used to describe a collection of universes. Sometimes it's just two universes, sometimes it's an infinite number of universes. Since the concept of infinity and the multiverse are highly theoretical, these ideas are explored with creative liberties. So I will be using the descriptive approach to deconstructing the nature of the multiverse to tell you why canon events are not exactly what you might assume they are. Before we get into it, I would like to remind you that the criticisms I am about to offer are criticisms of Miguel O'Hara's understanding of the multiverse and not criticisms of the movie because the movie seems to agree with me on how Miguel is wrong. So, let's start with
My name is Miguel O'Hara. I lead an elite strike force dedicated to the security of the multiverse.
Actually, forget it.
Miguel O'Hara is strong, fast, and incredibly powerful. But can he stop Thanos, who collects all the Infinity Stones in a universe that he doesn't belong in? Can he stop Dormammu? This right here is a problem. Either Miguel is extremely lucky for not having to face a being that is on a completely different level than him. That's also why the rule book of Frugal Bane's Guide to the Multiverse has this rule. Protectors should hone their skills in disciplines that transcend individual realities, enabling them to manipulate cosmic energies, transverse dimensions, and wield tools capable of maintaining multiversal stability. If you are dealing with infinite universes, you are eventually going to come across creatures that are incomprehensibly powerful. They don't even have anything to restrain someone like the spot. So, yes, the level of power here is a bit underwhelming. In moments like this, when you are facing a threat that is incredibly powerful, the power to destroy a universe is going to come in handy. It is an issue, but the multiverse has infinite universes. So it's not completely impossible that Miguel hasn't come across something like this.
Don't even get me started on Doctor Strange, you little nerd back on Earth 1999.
So Miguel knows about Doctor Strange and Spider-Man's failed memory spell. Now you might ask, why didn't he just jump in and help those two and the rest of the spider people in No Way Home? The answer, it's simple. Miguel did. The universe Miguel saved and the one where Peter sacrificed his identity to stop the universe from collapsing are separate dimensions where the same thing happened almost in the same way. Why do I bring that up? Because Miguel isn't the only one who is trying to keep the dimensions separate and safe. This is where Madame Web comes in. Although Madame Web doesn't make an appearance across the Spider-Verse, well, she's supposed to be a spider god that has the power over fate itself. So the multiversal spider AI thing could be a scribe of Madame Web. This theory starts to make more sense when we see this moment where the machine automatically activates when Miles is trying to escape.
What's happening? Machine activated on its own. How is that possible? It isn't.
So everything must be going according to her plan. She must be the one forcing spider people to go through similar experiences to create heroes for their own universes. This could be due to a multitude of reasons. For an example, Madame Web might not have faith in humanity, so she forces heroes to experience grief in order to change people into selfless saviors she can trust. Or it could be as simple as Madame Web makes heroes go through insurmountable odds just to satisfy her appetite for entertainment. Well, that's always a possibility, right? But Miguel seems to be a select for the system. He places his faith in the system completely to avoid risks and minimize casualties. He is dedicated to stop people from traveling through dimensions. But this system of his started to produce exceedingly complicated results. And when Spider 42 bit Miles Morales of Earth 1610, Miguel was left clueless what he is meant to do with him.
You don't get it! You're an anomaly! Everywhere you go, you're an anomaly! You're the original anomaly!
But fate then decided that there should only be one Spider-Man for one universe and killed Peter Parker.
If you hadn't been bit, your Peter Parker would have lived. Instead, he died, saving you.
This, however, didn't change Miles into the Spider-Man template. He was still as irresponsible as ever. Then Uncle Aaron was taken away from him to make him change. Although this gives him a reason to fight Kingpin and finally stop him, Miles remained Miles. This is why fate created Spot. The final lesson for Spider-Man. This is probably the system fate uses to turn people into spider people. Because without tragedy and horror, heroes would never arise. Because why would someone who hasn't felt overwhelming dread of loss stop other people from having to face the same level of dread? They wouldn't even know how terrible losing someone they love is. This is why the death of people who are close to the spider person counts as a qualification. Because only those who know responsibility deserves power. Although I have several hypotheses, I will share with you another. This one I assume will be the closest to what the story wants us to arrive at. This spider AI could have been created by O'Hara, who used himself as the sample to find more people like himself. And the people like himself are fated to endure tragedy till they lose their heroism and become pawns to an uncaring system. Because everything is fated. So attempting to go against fate will only bring terrible consequences. That's what Miguel has become. He has given up on taking risks. He has given up on being a person. Because everywhere he goes, tragedy follows him. Everyone he cares about fades away into nothingness. His great power has brought him too much responsibility for a superhero to bear.
And all this time, I have been the only one holding it all together.
This is why Miguel gets frustrated easily and talks down to everyone else. Because he knows that everyone who works with him will eventually understand how he feels. But Miles is a different kind of hero. It is beyond Miguel's comprehension why Miles insists on rejecting his fate even knowing the consequences. But Miles knows that he doesn't have to be a pawn to a machine that doesn't understand the importance of being a person.
Everyone keeps telling me how my story is supposed to go. Nah, I'ma do my own thing.
And becoming more than Spider-Man. So instead of compromising, he goes out of his way to save everyone and the people who matter to him the most. So my conclusion is that I believe that canon events are not what keeps universes stable. I personally think that canon events are a lie the system has told people to accept. Now I know what you're thinking. Then why did Miguel's second universe get destroyed? Although this isn't explicit, I believe that this was being done by his watch. The watch can stabilize the particles of anything that doesn't belong in the universe. Since he cannot be erased due to the watch, the universe began to erase itself. Or it could just be another incursion